So today we are learning basics of final accounts or financial statement. So before that, let us understand what is the process of accounting. Okay, so process of accounting. We first pass journal entries, then we post the journal entries in ledger accounts. Correct? Posting means giving the effect of journal entries in those ledger account. Then at the end of the particular period, okay, usually it's a year, end of the year, but for internal purposes, final accounts or financial statements may also be prepared at the end of every quarter, okay, or at the end of every month, okay, depending on the nature of the business. So at the end of every period, what we do is we prepare a trial balance. Trial balance is nothing but all the balances in the ledger account. Okay, it is statement showing all the balances in the ledger account. That is all debit and credit balances. So it will be a statement as on the particular date which will present the balances. Statement on a particular date. Which will present the balances as per your ledger account. Okay, then after preparing trial balance, we prepare final accounts. Okay, so this final accounts or financial statements also you call it. So as the name itself suggests, this is a reporting, okay, financial statements. So this includes your trading account, your profit and loss account, your balance sheet, and notes to accounts. Now notes to accounts is an explanation to your financial statement, okay, giving clarifications on certain things in your financial statements. Okay, so this is a process of accounting. Now let us understand practically at the end of the year how do we prepare a final accounts or your financial statements. Okay, so at the end of the year, okay, so practically if the year end is 31st March 2016, it will take some 8 days, okay, to prepare final accounts, okay, depending on your nature of business and your accounting efficiency and your accounting systems. Okay, so all the books of accounts are not closed till your final accounts are prepared. So how do we prepare a final accounts? Practically we will post all the closing entries. Okay, now what are the closing entries? Closing entries will include your transfer from prepaid expenses to expenses entry, or vice versa. If there is some prepaid expenses which needs to be recognized, you will post that entry. Then similarly for your outstanding expenses, okay, then if any provision for expenses needs to be calculated and created, your entries for provision for expenses. Then your depreciation entry, depreciation on fixed assets entry, you'll calculate the depreciation on fixed assets, and accordingly depreciation on fixed assets entry needs to be posted. Then there are some provision for bad debts. You need to calculate some provision for bad debts and accordingly post the entry for provision for bad debts. Then there may be some entries pending, okay, which you'll get it from your bank reconciliation statement, okay, like direct payments by bank, direct receipts by bank, then some bank charges which is charged in your bank statement but entry is not passed in your books of accounts, then some interest, bank interest, okay, which is credited in your bank statement but entry for that is not being passed in your books of account. All those pending entries you need to pass in your books of accounts before closing, okay. Then interest on investments, you need to get all the interest on your interest treatment on your investment, okay. Deposits, similarly interest paid also, okay. Then your closing stock, you need to calculate the closing stock, valuation of closing stock, and accordingly you need to consider the closing stock for the purpose of your cost of goods sold, correct. And balance sheet side asset, it will be your asset. Then your provision for taxes, then deferred tax, okay. There may be some more entries which need to be posted. Apart from this, you need to post all these entries, okay. So once you post all these entries, you need to prepare a trial balance as on a particular date, and using this trial balance you can prepare final accounts, that is your balance sheet, P&L, trading, etc. Okay, so this is how you practically prepare your final account. First you post all these entries, then prepare a trial balance, and then prepare your final account. Now let's see, when we are given the illustration in our book, okay, some problem on final accounts in the book, what is the nature of the problem and how do we proceed. So when we are given any illustration, okay, illustration on for preparing final accounts, okay, in the books, okay. So what is done is we are given two things, okay. We are given trial balance, okay, as on end of the year, and then there are some adjustments, okay. So trial balance will have balances of all your ledger accounts. Now this adjustments is nothing but all the pending entries, so the impact of adjustments is not yet given in the trial balance, that is all the adjustment entries are not posted in the trial balance. So it will include your details of closing stock, then sometimes depreciation, then some provision for bad debts or taxes, then some pending entries okay, like interest, bank charges, then your entries on prepaid or outstanding expenses. Okay, so adjustments will include all those entries which are pending or the effect of which is not given in the trial balance. Okay, now how do we proceed further? Okay, all these entries are given and then we are required to prepare a final accounts. Okay, so how do we proceed further? So let's see what are the rules. Now trial balance as on a date, okay, will have all the balances of ledger accounts, correct, all debit and credit balances of the ledger account, okay, or credit balances. Now what we do is we categorize these accounts in the trial balance into three accounts. One is real account, then you have personal account, and the third one is nominal account. Okay, so real account will have your assets, correct. Now these assets will be will take all the assets to balance sheet asset side. Okay, all assets, this will usually have a debit balance only, correct. So all these assets will take it to balance sheet asset side. Then personal account means what? It will be your representative personal account, that is your debtors, creditors, then loan given, then your capital account, then your bank account. Okay, all these are personal account. So for personal account, the rule will be all the debit balances will go to the asset side of balance sheet. Okay, and then credit balances will go to the liability side of balance sheet. Okay, this is for trial balance. Now your nominal account. Nominal account will have all your income, expenses, profits and losses. Okay, so for nominal account also, all the debit balances will go on the expense side of either a trading account or profit and loss account or profit and loss appropriation account, depending on your nature of expenses. Okay, we'll see this in details once we see the format of your final accounts. Okay, then the credit balances. Okay, credit balances will usually include all your income and profits. Okay, this will be transferred to your income or profit side, or say your credit side of trading account, P&L account and P&L appropriation account, depending on the nature of income or profit. Okay, now the next thing is your adjustments. Okay, so adjustments, as I told you, are pending entries. Okay, so for all adjustment you need to see what is a entry, what will be the journal entry. Okay, and accordingly how will we post this journal entry in the ledger account. Okay, if trial balance was not prepared, how do we post this entry in the journal account? You need to analyze that, and then need to give the impact of the journal entry or the adjustment in your balance sheet or trading or P&L or P&L appropriation account. Okay, now since this entry is not posted, okay, the impact of that is not included in your trial balance, your all adjustments will have two effects in your final accounts. Okay, we'll come to that when we solve our practical problems. Okay, now once this is prepared, all the adjustments, effect of adjustments are given, everything is prepared. What we need to do is close trading account. Okay, calculate gross profit. Okay, then this gross profit we need to bring it forward, the balance gross profit we need to bring it forward to profit and loss account. Okay, then we need to close profit and loss account and then calculate net profit or net loss. Then this net profit or net loss we need to bring it forward to profit and loss appropriation account. Okay, then again we need to close P&L appropriation account, and then this whatever is a profit or loss from appropriation, okay, we need to transfer it to balance sheet. Okay, need to add it to capital account. Okay, or you may also say reserves and surplus. Reserves and surplus is the group in the liabilities, on the liability side of the balance sheet. Okay, we need to either add or reduce it depending on whether it's a profit or whether it's a loss. Okay, so this is how we prepare our final accounts, basic steps of preparing final account. In next session we will be seeing all the formats of trading account, profit and loss account, balance sheet, P&L appropriation account. We will know what is the nature of expenses and then incomes, and then accordingly how do we either give the impact of those in P&L or trading or P&L appropriation. Okay, thank you.